WSOU 89.5 FM, the loudest rock. I'm Valentino, and I'm joined today with the legendary Phil from Whitechapel. How you doing today, Phil?
Good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Thanks for asking. I'm feeling good. Diving right into it. New album, Kin, out October 29th. That release date is coming up a week from today. How you feeling?
Not too bad about it. I'm actually very excited for everyone to hear all the songs they haven't heard yet. So I'm ready to just get their feedback and see what people think about it.
That's so cool. And I know, again, typically when you write a record and you drop it, there's always going to be a little bit of hype. But I think especially with Whitechapel, it's been like 3 years since we've had a new record. These fans are really foaming at the mouth for it. And all the singles have been incredible. So what's kind of the fan reception you've been seeing so far from the stuff you've been dropping?
Very positive. Of course, there's going to be people that aren't too into it. And, that's just the nature of it. But as far as what I've seen has been mostly positive, and people are excited to hear the new stuff from the record that they haven't heard. And it's been a very positive experience, and just can't wait to hear what they have to say about the rest of the songs on the album.
And I think that this record is the most diverse Whitechapel record I'd say I've ever heard. You guys have obviously experimented with a lot of sounds, but the song that kind of immediately comes to mind is History is Silent, where those verses are almost soft kind of acoustic, and then that chorus is just death metal right in your face, and then it goes back, and it's just so cool the way you play with dynamics in that song as well as the whole record. What kind of went into that songwriting process and how you walk that line?
Well, we just have really good songwriting chemistry, and one of our guitar players, Ben Savage, he writes a lot of those kind of ballady kind of sounding stuff, and also just a lot of the atmospheric soft stuff, and of course we have our other two guitar players that do that as well, but he tends to have a lot more I guess connection with those kinds of songs, just the writing ability part of it. And they just bring the music to me, and then I write to the music.
That's so cool. Is that hard to let's just say you have maybe lyrics set out and it doesn't quite go with the rhythm of the music? Do you have to abandon those lyrics? Do you rework it? What do you do in instances like that?
I never pre-write lyrics. I always write to songs whenever I get them. I have subjects that I like to write about, or that I'm going to write about, but I never pre-write them. I will always want to do it to the song, because whenever you pre-write lyrics, you're trying to fit everything in my opinion. Some people may be good at it, but I personally find it a lot more, I guess I find it a little bit more easier than doing it that way, just because of I like to phrase my lyrics like I'm talking, and not that I'm just trying to force words into certain parts of a song and have odd sounding syllables and stuff. So I always write after the song has been made.
That's a really good idea. And as I said, if you preemptively write, you might have lyrics that you're really attached to, and it's going to be hard for you to kind of do away with those, or even just rework them if it doesn't fit with the song.
Yeah, exactly.
So another thing about this new record that I absolutely love is, again, I talk a little bit about the ebbs and flow of, songs like History is Silent, songs like Anti-Care, where it has that cool balance of heavy and soft, and it's weaved throughout. How do you imagine these songs are going to translate to that live setting?
I think it's going to be great. Especially when you have soft parts before heavy parts, it makes those heavy parts hit even harder. I'm very interested to see live videos of us playing those songs live, and just hearing how it translates. But I think it's going to be great. We keep in mind that about how we're going to be playing the songs live, and try to write them for a good live setting as well. So that's another little aspect of the songwriting that goes into it, just to, is it going to translate live, and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I especially with like the metal genre as a whole, I feel like the live aspect is so important. I feel like with other genres, it's like, I love all of them, like country, pop, all that stuff. But like you don't need to like hear those songs live all the time to like, fully like get it. But whereas with metal, I think when you're in the pit, you're surrounded by people, the music gets swells and gets intense, and the crowd around you gets tighter. Like it's kind of like it's a more full body experience, I think, with the genre.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with it's considered to be very loud and aggressive, so that just brings out those emotions in people. And it's yeah, it's just a crowd unlike any other crowd you've ever seen going to these kinds of shows.
Exactly. And I know you have a tour set for February, all that sort of stuff, February, April. Very exciting over there. Do you have any shows planned in support of this new record in the next few months? Maybe could we see a Whitechapel show in December or October?
Well, we do have one. It's our yearly benefit show that we do in our hometown. But past that, we don't have anything else booked until February that we do with. And that's the only thing we have planned so far. But of course, with the way the world is, it's very uncertain how things will play out, or what's going to come after that, or anything. So planning in the future is kind of hard at the moment.
Understandably so. And so I have to ask, you guys haven't toured yet. I know a few other bands have been like doing shows frequently. You guys haven't played a show yet. What's it going to feel like to get back on stage finally? You've been off the stage for a full year and a half, almost 2 years now, and to like walk back out and not only just play a show, but play these new songs live. How's that going to feel emotionally?
It's going to be crazy, just because we've spent the last 15 years of our life just constantly playing shows and touring and doing all that stuff. So like it's gonna be pretty crazy to get back up there. And I feel like it's gonna be just like riding a bike, though. Once you get back up there, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this is because since we've been doing it so long, it's just been something that it's become second nature to us. But it's definitely going to be weird at first, because it's been so long since we played.
And like I know I've talked to a few other artists, and like it's interesting how like after the pandemic, all these shows kind of feel like your first concert back. You know what I mean? Like even like as an attendee going to these shows, I feel like it's my first concert, every single one I go to in the last like 6 months. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's got that excitement back to it as well.
hmm Yeah, it's just, you've been away from it for so long that, getting back to it is just, it builds the excitement even more, because I feel like that's a pretty big thing in America. The touring market gets a little oversaturated, and um, you know, you're going through these places so often that they're just like, oh, I'll just catch them next time or something. But now it's just like, I can't miss this. I've been waiting for this for 2 years now.
Mm. It's so interesting to hear you say that, because there was an artist interview I did like 4 years ago, and they mentioned this, and I never like thought about it again. But you're right. They were an Australian band, and they said something along the lines of, when they tour Australia once, everyone's happy and grateful, but when they tour America once, it's always like, when are you coming back? It's never like, I just was there a month ago. It's super
Yeah.
here to kind of hear you say the same thing of like, um, the American touring model is so different. You do the same city 3 times a year, which is weird to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, that's one thing that I get. One question I get a lot is after we'll play a show, if I talk to a fan or something, most of the time they'll say like, when you coming back? I'm just like, I have no idea, man. We literally just played. So I mean, yeah, that's just not something I know at this point in time. And plus, like, not even that, like, most of the time I don't know. I will never know off the top of my head. So
Mm.
uh yeah, it's strange how it works, just all around the world.
That's actually kind of crazy to me because I can imagine like maybe a fan on social media being like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a few years. When are you coming back? But like after you've seen Whitechapel live, you have walked off the stage, you just saw the performance to be like, when's it happening again?
Yeah.
That's wild. Like I can't fathom that.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of it is probably just nervousness, and they just don't know what to say or what to ask or anything. So that's like one of the first things that comes to their mind. But at the same time, it's just like, I have no idea, man.
Exactly. So again, you're going out on the road again. That's going to be super, super cool. And, playing these songs live, I want to ask as an artist, because like sometimes, it's a difficult line to walk making up a set list. You have to determine, am I going to put a ton of the new stuff in or like not that much of the new stuff in? Because it's been so long of a gap, are you going to put a lot more of this new record in? We're all really hungry to hear it live, or is it going to be like a moderate amount of both?
It's gonna be more of, I guess, the heavier stuff, because just the nature of the tour that we're going on. But after that, we're really planning on playing these songs, more of these songs live, and just in the correct setting. But yeah, I mean, we're just eager to get out there and just play live and just get it going again. It's just whether it's old stuff or new stuff, we're just ready to play again and just get the ball rolling.
And I know that all the fans are like, super, super excited to see you guys live again. It's been such a long year without shows. Now that the metal shows are finally returning, we are hyped. Can't wait. But I'm going to switch gears a bit and go back into the songwriting of the new record, if that's okay. I do kind of want to talk a little bit about the story behind this record. So obviously this record is based off of true events in your life and your past, but it's also kind of have like a concept album, like fiction behind it, there's a dark side, like a shadow side and like a light side kind of talking to each other. And lyrically, as you mentioned in previous interviews, a sequel to The Valley. How do you make a fiction record that is based on true events, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just I just dig into it in I guess a kind of a what if way instead of just a literal sense. Because I feel like that's what books are for, to, like an autobiography or something like that. But when it comes to the music and the lyrics, like, you don't want to just tell things so literally, because it just almost sounds kind of corny. And I reference like country music, just because like I do like country music. I'm from Tennessee, and grew up around it my entire life. But their lyrics are very, of course, it's a different style, but like, their lyrics are so literal that they start to sound kind of like kind of corny, and
Yeah.
just really just you almost just laugh at it because it's just so like matter of fact. And so, but with yeah, with this, I just it, because this is based on true stuff, but I took a fictional story, I made a fictional story, but the fictional story is based on an actual story, which is my teenage years. But it's a more like what if this would have happened, or this or that. And that's the basis and just how I go about it.
And I think that's such a cool comparison that you made, because like you're right, like country songs, they're fine, there's a market for that, that's cool, but it is very much, there's not like deeper meaning to I'm riding my tractor, I'm going out to a party, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's there, you hear is what you
Yeah.
get. Whereas with the metal and rock scene, I also think that like, obviously there's exceptions, but for the most part, the topics we're dealing with are more, taboo and dark. And so
Mhm.
just saying as plainly as like outright saying it, you know what I mean, is kind of
Yeah.
like, it would just feel weirder.
Yeah, it just doesn't have any sort of like entertainment value to me. Like, it doesn't have it. You don't watch a movie for it to be so literal and matter of fact. You watch it to be intrigued and like guessing and, you know, wondering what's going on kind of thing. Now there are movies that take it a little bit too far and you still don't know what's going on by the time the movie ends, but I want to have like a little bit of mystery behind it, but also like an understanding as well.
And like I think that's part of the fun of being a fan of Whitechapel, is like combing through these lyrics like on their own. Like, yes, listening to the music is so important, but like dissecting these lyrics and kind of trying to figure out the story for yourself. There's like it adds a layer to the music.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're going for sure.
Mm. And again, I talked a little bit about the deep meaning behind rock and metal, especially with this record. You've mentioned in previous interviews stories about your mother and father and like kind of your past, and especially like with songs like Blood-Soaked Symphony, the single we've heard so far. You can really dive into that past. Is that like painful to almost go back to that point in your life and almost resurface it when writing music about it?
Not really for me, just because it's, I've dealt with it for so long, and I've been past it for many, many, many years. But I still have the emotional ties to it, but I'm able to keep a cool head about it. It doesn't get me like all worked up or anything. Now when I'm recording and in within the moment, yes, but like as far as talking about it, I have no problem talking about it or anything like that. It's now maybe if I like got into some like deep like therapy session about it, maybe, but because we all have stuff that's buried and we don't really let out, but as far as it bothering me and like being a big problem for me, no, definitely not.
And like I can hear especially on tracks like To the Wolves, like that track, I can hear like the pain in your voice. I can really hear that like raw emotion. And when you're in the studio and you're bringing yourself back to these dark times, how do you get in that headspace? Like do you take a minute to like think about it? Do you just go right into it? What's the process behind like doing that?
I think for me it's just I guess just thinking about the subject matter and just like I mean it's not something I necessarily have to really sit and think about. I think it's just something that is just naturally in me to express it that way, because I know the subject matter and know the significance and the meaning behind it, so that's enough for me to display the true emotion and nature behind it.
Exactly. It's like you already know why you wrote these lyrics. When you get to the mic, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know this. I'm sure you've heard this from hundreds of fans already. But I think one of the most beautiful things about Whitechapel, your lyrics, is that because the lyrics are so emotional, because they're so deep, a lot of fans have really connected to this. They it helps them on a level that's not even just oh, it's good music, it's good metal music, I like to mosh to it. It's like I really relate to these lyrics and it's helping me go through a tough time. And I think that that's really cool to just a cool statement from your perspective. What's that like seeing this?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I'm a very big fan of not listening to music for a surface level experience. I'm more of that, because there's more to it than just the sounds you're hearing. There's of course there's a lot of people that just listen to it for the sounds, and that's fine. But you're really doing yourself a disservice by not looking into the story or looking into because it's an audio version. In this case it's an audio version of a movie, so like there's no visuals, but of course besides the music videos, but when you're listening to the music just driving in your car or just like chilling at home or whatever, there's no visuals for you, so you have to kind of like create those visuals for yourself. And that's what I like to see, people that are actually like looking into the story and maybe having theories about what this means or that means. That's being really engaged into the music. And I feel like a lot of people need to really take that into account when they're listening to music that's supposed to be serious, like, because that's what these records are. Is these two records are definitely very serious. I mean, we've had, of course, serious records in the past too, but these are like real, like really real.
Mm. And what's cool about that is, you mentioned that like with music, like this is a cool art form, because you can make a movie and people can interpret that how they want to interpret it, but at the end of the day they're seeing what you're showing them on the movie. You can make a painting, and like, that's cool and that's how you interpret it, but that's, you're seeing what they're feeling. Whereas with music, every single person that tries to dissect this album is going to have a different vision in their head. Every single person that like really tears into these lyrics, this music, is going to have a different experience. And that's just kind of a cool thing about music as an art form. I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what I'm going for.
Now, have you seen a lot of like fan art or like fan, writings, or basically just any kind of fan made material based off of the new singles you've seen so far?
Not yet. I guess it's more or less probably just a little bit too early for it, but no, I haven't really. I've seen like reaction videos and stuff to like the music videos, but past that, I haven't really seen anything that anyone has said about it. No.
Gotcha. That's got to be a cool thing too with the reaction videos, because like, I'm sure as an artist, previously you've never seen people react to the album when you drop it. You just drop it and you hear a few comments after it's been heard. But I'm sure as an artist, seeing people in live time react to a song, it's got to be kind of awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's a new thing like going on YouTube. That's really, really cool idea, because it's got people's genuine reactions, and you just have to take their word for it that they hadn't heard the song yet. But it's good content, people love it, and I'm all for it.
Yeah. And this new record, I kind of want to get into a little bit of the recording process again. It was actually recorded at the guitarist Zach's home studio. Super cool about that. How was that experience? Like, I feel like if you're in like, you've had pretty much the same lineup for the entire career, having kind of just the band in a house together at the studio, that's got to add to the environment, I'm sure.
Yeah. And plus, we're all in the same city pretty much, except for one guy or two of them. One, Alex Rudinger lives in Maryland, and Ben Savage, he lives in Nashville, but Nashville's, 2.5 hours away. But but I mean, we're all home, so I go to the studio that day and then just go back to my place, and it's just a lot more relaxing, knowing that I can go sleep in my bed every night, like home is just right down the road kind of thing. So I mean, it just creates a whole different vibe to the recording process, because again, you have everything that you need there.
Yeah. And you're right. It's like, I never even thought about that. You can just go home, let's just say you're in the middle of a recording process. All right, guys, I'm a little tired. I'm gonna go take a nap. You could go back to your home and take a nap. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
That's kind of got to be like a really cool, just convenience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one more thing I do want to discuss about the record: the album cover was made by your other guitarist, Ben, his wife, Jill. And I think that the album cover just really captures the record beautifully. I think it like really, really, when I'm listening to the record, that's the kind of the same color palette that I see. Did you guys like tell her explicitly, here's what we want it to be, or did you just give her the songs and she just kind of went from there?
Yeah, I mean, Ben told her like, a little bit about like what he's seeing as far as the art goes, because he usually handles all the art stuff anyways. But yeah, I mean, she had like an idea in her head, like what it needed to be. And yeah, I mean, it turned out great. It's just, and plus it's a genuine piece of art that's been hand drawn, taken, a lot of time to do, because it's pointillism. So there's a lot of dots, and she almost drove herself crazy doing it, just because there was so many dots. Like she started to just like see dots, in her regular vision. But yeah, I mean, it's and the cool thing I like about it is just that it's very simple looking. It's not like over the top crazy. It's just a very like, I don't know. It's simple as far as like the visual of it, but like what went into it is not simplistic. It's there's a lot of messages in there. And it's again, it's a very, you don't have to look at so much stuff and be overwhelmed by it. It's just very, very to the point, and that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but you are right. It's simple, but it also displays, the theme of the record, the two characters, next to each other, which is so cool. Well, first, I wanted to thank you so much again, Phil, for talking with me today, talking to WSOU about this new record. We're playing it nonstop. We really, really love it. We're a huge supporter of Whitechapel. I got one more question for you today. Thank you again for joining with me. I guess my last question is, this is just kind of an interesting one. Next year is 10 years of Self-Titled. Do you guys have anything special planned for that kind of anniversary, whether it be like, vinyl re-release or even just like a tour or something? Anything for that 10-year anniversary?
Well, we would like to do 10-year anniversary tours for each of our records, but of course, then again, the pandemic pretty much screwed that up. Because in 2020 we could have done New Era, and that didn't happen. So but yeah, I mean, we would love to. I mean, there's definitely songs on there that we've never played before live, so that's something that I think that could happen. Whether we know or not, we don't. That's definitely not something that we do know. But yeah, would love to.
As you said, like, we'd love to, but again, like with the world, we don't know for sure. So I understand completely, but we're excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much again. Kin out next Friday, October 29th. Also, for all our New Jersey and New York listeners, you guys are coming to Brooklyn Steel in Brooklyn, New York on February 24th. So definitely block off February 24th to see you guys. Phil, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.